Brilliant. Good morning. Welcome to the pre-market overview, October 7th, 2020. Today is a Wednesday, so happy Wednesday to everybody. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to look at our newsletter today. That's what we do in the pre-market overviews, is we go through our newsletter for about 15-20 minutes to just expand on the concepts that are in it. If you would like to get the document for yourself, just email us at newsletter@tradewithufos.com and we will put you on that subscription list. It gets sent out every day, Monday to Friday, before the markets open. So I'll show you what it is in a minute. And again, if you want to get it for yourself, just email us. Another couple of emails to bear in mind. That's my one there, Becky@tradewithufos.com. I'm Becky. And then there's the support team, support@tradewithufos.com. So you can email any one of us if you have questions about anything. So for those that may be joining us, if you're new to the Tradictive channel through the You Can Trade website, just to remind you, today is Wednesday. So that means you have futures at 9 a.m. Eastern and options at 1 p.m. Eastern. Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are stocks and investing sessions. And then we do sharpening over the weekend. One session is a psychology class or a psychology session, and the other session is methodology, questions and answers, reinforcement of concepts and things like that. So that's all from within the channel, all part of the subscription. And then the other side of things are the courses. So this will be for people that maybe know how to trade, but they don't know how to trade stocks or futures. Or maybe they're completely new to trading and they need to learn the methodology from the ground up. Or maybe they want to understand how to backtest their plan or how to build a trading plan, or psychology. It might be something that they really want to look at. And so these are all sort of concepts from the ground up, foundational. The one that we've got going on at the moment is stocks, but the next one that we have that will be starting this week and coming is the psychology class. Starts at 5 p.m. Eastern every day, October 10th till the 16th. After that, we have futures, then trading plans and backtesting. I'll show you in a minute where you can go to learn more about that if you'd like to. Firstly, let's put the disclaimer up on the screen there. It's of course important that you guys read the disclaimer, not just for legal reasons, but for just in general. It's good advice to understand that there are obviously risks involved when you trade. Ultimately, it's up to you what trades you place. We will help with some ideas and demonstrations of how to use the product, but it's ultimately up to you which trades you place, how much money you put on them, what accounts you use, etc. If you'd like to come back later and read this, because I know that it might go through a bit quickly, for those of you that might not be able to read it quick enough, I know I can't, you can come back and read it, or go to youcantrade.com and you can get this additional disclosure information there. So this is where you can go to learn more about what we do. If you go to youcantrade.com and then choose the Tradictive channel, you'll see that you can start a free trial for the channel. So that's where you can access all those sessions that we saw there on the left. You can schedule a call with somebody if you have questions about that before you do it. And you can browse courses. So that's to look at the courses that we saw there on the right. So if you click that page or click that link, it will open up a separate page. And you will see the 5 courses that we do, and you can learn more about each of them by clicking on course details per one. You'll have more information about it, and then you can schedule a clarification call on there as well, again, to ask questions before you register if you need to. When you click on that button, it will come up with this pop-up. You just put in your name and email address so that we can send you the link to that callback. Choose the date and time that suits you best for a callback, and you can put in some questions as well if you want to in the box at the bottom. If you want us to be prepared with any answers, click request. You'll get a little pop-up that will say that it's been done, and you will get an email with a link so that we can meet you online at the scheduled time. Just a reminder for those that want to join us mobily, if you go to the App Store, you can download the You Can Trade app on the App Store. So just search You Can Trade on it. Nothing on Android at the moment, but like we said, App Store if you want to follow us like that, if you have Apple products. Okay, so that's everything in terms of the introduction. So I will crack on and go straight into the newsletter. That's what we have here on the right-hand side. So this newsletter goes through 4 of the major markets in the world. We'll look at the S&P, which is one on the top here. That's an index of a group of the top 500 US stocks. We'll look at oil and gold, which are major commodities. And we look at the euro, which is a major currency. So, of course, all of these markets, you might not trade any one of them directly, but they are huge markets with lots and lots of orders moving through them, meaning that even if you don't trade them directly, they are likely to be correlated to or will have an impact on the other markets that you may trade. Now, what you might notice is that we look at a daily time frame for each of these markets. Now, again, of course, different things happen on different time frames. However, the daily chart is one of the most commonly used, if not the most commonly used time frame out there. So that's why we're using the daily chart. So bear in mind, all of this applies to the daily chart. Now, for each of these markets, we are going to look at a combination of things. So the first thing we want to look at is climate. Climate essentially means which direction is the market going in and what are the probabilities associated with it. It's essentially trend, for those of you that know what that means. It's trend, but more importantly, it's what are the probabilities associated with that movement based on analyzing market data. Now, we use our Auto Climate app, which we see here on the bottom of the charts. You'll see that for each market we look at, we've got Auto Climate on the bottom. The Auto Climate app does the analysis for us. It analyzes market data for us, and it will come back and show us in one of three things which direction the market is in and what the probabilities are associated. So we're going to ignore the lines for now. Just look at the dots and the colors. So it could show us a thick blue dot. That would tell us we're in a confirmed upwards climate with probabilities to the upside. It could show us a thick red dot. That's a confirmed downwards climate, probability to the downside. Or it could show us a thin dot of either color. The color still tells us the direction, blue is up, red is down, but the fact that it's thin, that's the Auto Climate app's way of telling us that we don't really have any direction and we don't really have any probabilities. So we're going to keep away from markets like that. As traders, we don't want to place trades for the sake of placing trades. We want to make sure we have probabilities on our side, odds in our favor. And so if the Auto Climate app is telling us that we lack probabilities, we don't do anything on those days. There's no point. So we use the Auto Climate app to tell us what the climate is, what's the direction of the market, and what are the probabilities associated. Linked to that is propagating. Propagating tells us how long can we expect that market to continue going in that direction. So on the right-hand side, we see how long those markets usually go in that direction for. So if we're in an upwards climate, how long would that market usually go up for? If we're in a downwards climate, how long would it usually go down for? Based on the amount of candles. So you'll notice these are all decimal places. So I'm going to round them up so that we have a nice round whole number for the amount of candles. So how many candles does it normally go in that direction? And on the left-hand side, how many candles are we already in to that movement? So what this then tells us, or gives us an idea of, is whether or not we have probabilities that the market continues going in that direction based on what normally happens, or if we are more likely to have come to the end of a usual move and therefore more likely to see a change in direction, more likely to see price change. So again, we will look at that per market as well. What we also want to understand is UFOs, nearest UFOs. So UFO stands for unfilled order. What that means is we expect there to be buy orders waiting in a market to push it upwards. And we expect there to be sell orders in a market that are waiting to push it downwards. So we use the Auto UFO app to, again, analyze market data for us and come back and show us visually on a chart where these orders are likely to be. So if I just show you here, let's make this a bit bigger. If I show you here, our buy UFOs, where we have buy unfilled orders, are shown to us as green UFOs. Looks like little flying saucers there. So it shows us as green buy orders. If it was a sell order, then it would kind of look like this. We don't have it on this chart at the moment. Then it would be a red one. So red UFOs, sell orders, green UFOs, buy orders. So again, we want to look for those on a chart because that helps us figure out where, again, price might be likely to turn. We expect buy orders to push price up. We expect sell orders to push price down. So it's helpful for us to know where those orders are likely to be and therefore are likely to change the direction of price. So we're going to look at each of these things per market, and then we are going to come down and look at volatility. So volatility just means how fast we expect these markets to move or how far we expect them to move within a given period of time. So we look at current implied volatility. You'll notice each of these numbers are a percentage. What these numbers show us is the expected movement up or down in 1 year as a percentage of its current value. So it's the annualized number, what we expect in a year in terms of movement up or down as a percentage, which means we can then reverse engineer it and understand what we expect up or down in 1 day, what we expect up or down in a week, and the same for a month. So again, we can have an idea of how far we expect these prices to move up or down within given periods of time. The climate and the propagating help us figure out in which direction that's more likely to happen. And the nearest UFOs will help us know where price might be likely to turn. So we're going to look at each of these concepts per market. We'll go through one by one, and then we will come down and look at news that we need to be aware of. Okay, so we've got the S&P on the right. So let's start with that one. We see at the bottom here a thick blue dot on our auto climate app. That tells us that we have a confirmed upwards climate probability to the upside. Usually the S&P goes up for 11 candles and we're on candle number 6. So we still have probability that it continues there to the upside based on what normally happens. Now we have buy orders just beneath us here. In fact, it looks like prices coming into them right now. The numbers for that are 33.48.42 to 33.23.69. And we have, as we saw before, no sell orders, nothing above us here, which means overall, for the S&P, we have probabilities to the upside. We have a confirmed upwards climate, probability to the upside with the climate. We have propagating on our side, probability that it continues to move upwards. We have buy orders beneath us and no sell orders above us. So again, many buying signals going on, lots of probability there to the upside. Now, just because something is probable does not mean it is definite. So you might well look at other situations or other variables that you want to add before you place a trade. And definitely we need to manage our risk just in case we're wrong. But again, it's all about stacking probabilities on our side. We don't want to take decisions where we lack probabilities. So in this case, we have probabilities there to the upside. Now, in terms of volatility, we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year on the S&P of 29.52% of its current value, which means in a day, we would expect to move up or down of 0.63 points. In a week, 1.38 points up or down, and in a month, up or down of 2.86 points. So that's the S&P. Let's move on to the next market, which is oil. At CL, that's the symbol I'm using there. It's the continuous futures contract there for oil. Just going to squidge it a bit more so we can see it. There we go. So when it comes to the climate for oil, we have a thin blue dot. Now it's blue, that tells us it's an upwards climate, but it's thin, which tells us unconfirmed, lack of probabilities. Keep away, don't do anything, lack of statistical advantage. Now, if this were to confirm itself, then we know that oil would normally go up for 7 candles, and we're on candle number 2. So if it confirms itself, we do have probability of a continuous move to the upside. But for the time being, we lack probabilities on the climate itself. So again, we keep away. In terms of orders, the closest stack of orders to us are the sell orders up here at 42.86 to 44.03. And the closest stack of buy orders down here at 26.56 to 26.05. Okay, so that's oil. In terms of volatility, we expect movement up or down of 46.60% of its current value, which means up or down in a day of 1.16 points, in a week up or down of 2.55 points. All these boxes are different sizes here, and in a month up or down of 5.32 points. And again, with oil, no probabilities on the climate, so nothing to do there. Let's have a look at gold. So at GC, continuous futures contract for gold. I'm just going to make price a bit bigger there, make it easier to see. Okay, so we have a thin blue dot again, which tells us unconfirmed climate, no probabilities or lack of probabilities. If it does confirm itself, usually gold goes up for 7 candles, and we're on candle number 4. So like I said, I'm rounding up all these numbers there on the right. So we do have probability that it continues to move up, but again, lack of confirmation on the climate itself. By the way, when it is an unconfirmed climate, you'll notice on our newsletter, we put a little cross. So the little cross next to the arrow is telling you that it's unconfirmed. If there isn't a cross, then it is confirmed. In terms of orders, we are seeing what price normally does, which is react to buy orders or react to sell orders. In this case, the buy orders that are 1876.9 to 1851.0, we've seen prices come in and it's on its way out again, which is exactly what we would expect. We expect buy orders to push price up, and that is what's happening. In terms of sell orders, they're quite a way away there at 2039.7 to 2060.8. So again, with gold, lack of probability on the climate itself. If we continue to move up here out of those buy orders, we may confirm the upwards climate and be able to take advantage of that. But for the time being, we would say lack of probabilities, better to keep away. Now, when it comes to volatility, we would expect movement up or down in 1 year of 22.79%. which means 27.1 points up or down in 1 day. In a week, up or down of 59.7 points and 124.2 points up or down in 1 month. So that's gold. Let's look at the last market, which is the Euro US dollar, which is the spot Forex currency pair here. I actually have to load slightly more here so we can see our UFOs. So just wait for that to load. Here we are. Okay. Once again, I'm just going to move price a little bit just to make it easier for us to see all these orders. So on the euro, we have a thick red dot, confirmed downwards climate, probability to the downside. Usually, the euro or the euro US dollar would go down for 4 candles, and we're on candle number 1. So probabilities that it continues down at least for a few days. Now, when it comes to orders, closest stack of buy orders is here, 1.1597 to 1.1507, just rounded that where it needs to be. And you might see here, price came into these buy orders and again is going out of them. So it's doing what we expect it to do. It's pushed price up. However, the climate is now coming back down against us. We have sell orders up here at 1.2344 to 1.2414. So reasonably far away, obviously much closer to the buy orders than we are to the sell orders. Overall, with the euro, we do have confirmed probabilities to the downside and probabilities that it continues down, but we are closer to the buy orders. So just bear in mind, not everything is quite lining up as we would like, but we do have overall more probabilities there to the downside. When it comes to volatility, we expect movement up or down in 1 year of 7.87%, which means 58 pips up or down in a day, 128 pips up or down in a week, or 267 pips up or down in a month. So that's everything in terms of the orders, in terms of the volatility, the climate, the propagating for each of these markets. Again, the volatility figures give us an idea of how far we expect price to move within certain periods of time. The climate and the propagating will help us figure out in which direction that is most likely to happen. And the nearest UFOs, as well as the propagating, will help us understand when price is more likely to stop and change direction and go in a different way. All based on technology, analyzing market data for us and giving us back what the probabilities are to make it easier for us to make decisions. Okay, so that's everything in terms of that stuff. So let's now move on and look at news that we need to be aware of. Now, we don't make decisions just based off of news. News is a reason why markets go up and down, not the reason. The most direct force we have to move price up or down are buy orders and sell orders. Buying and selling, that's what moves price up or down ultimately. Of course, the news can be a reason as to why people are buying and selling. So we need to be aware of high impact news that may increase volatility or that may cause orders to be cancelled or added. So we go to fxstreet.com and we look at the economic calendar. We filter by high impact news and by US markets. You can change those filters if you like. If you go to that link, you can see what you want to see. But for us, high impact news on US markets. Obviously today is Wednesday, so we've already seen the news come out on Monday and Tuesday. Today being Wednesday, we have at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have FOMC minutes, which again, high impact news. We are likely to see some volatility around that. We might not, but again, just to be aware of it ahead of time. Of course, this is only expected reports that are coming out. Of course, unexpected things happen too. We always need to manage our risk, but it's always helpful to be aware of when we might have high impact news or high impact reports that could affect what we're doing. So that's everything for today. So just a reminder then, for those that want to join us, that you might have seen us a few times on YouTube or something, and you want to join the channel, you can go to tradewithufos.com/you-can-trade. That's where you'll get the sessions that are futures, stocks, options, investing, sharpening in terms of reinforcement of the methodology, and sharpening in terms of psychology. Those are the sessions that we do every week. That's what you get as part of the subscription. So if you go to tradewithufos.com/you-can-trade, you can learn more about that. Now, you do have a free 14-day access. So if you're not sure if the way that we do things makes sense or something, you can try us out for a couple of weeks, see if you like it. If you don't, just cancel the subscription. If you do, and at least you've had a good couple of weeks to really know that the way we do things suit you. For people that are interested in courses, for people that want to learn something from the ground up or really work on their psychology when they trade or really know how to build a plan, backtest it, learn our methodology specifically in futures or specifically in stocks, you can go to the website to learn more about all of the courses we do. The next one we have upcoming is the psychology class. That starts live this weekend, Saturday, the 10th of October. If you go to tradewithufos.com/psychology live, you can learn more about it. Remember that it is a 2-for-1 offer at the moment. Register for any course and get an additional course for free. The second one, it needs to be of equal or lesser value than the first one you pick. So you need to have a look at the website, see what courses make more sense to you, see how you can put it together in such a way where you make the most of that offer. If you have questions about anything, email us, support@tradewithufos.com. Otherwise, if you're joining us from already within the channel, we will see you in the sessions today. Futures at 9 a.m, options at 1 p.m. Eastern, and I will be back tomorrow morning. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hope the markets treat you well today, and I will see you in the morning. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.